everybody. Welcome to month 2. We made it this far. So I've already chosen, I pulled out all the fabrics they're going to need for month 2, just like it says on the back of the pattern. And we're gonna head over to the cutting table, and I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks about pressing and some things about using the wing clipper. I want to make sure everybody's real clear about how we use the wing clipper. And yeah, let's get over to the cutting table. But before we do, I like to ask you to post pictures on our Facebook page. Everybody likes to see what everyone's doing, and please post comments. If you have any questions or you want to see some more videos about something in particular, please let me know. I'd be happy to do this. So let's get over to the cutting table. Okay, just a little tiny demo on block 2A. We have our fabric number 8 square and fabric number 5 and fabric number 24 triangles, and I want to make sure that you place them in the right orientation on here before we start going. So we're going to take a number 24 square or triangle, put it right down here just like that, and then a number 5 triangle, and just put those and just butt them right up together like that. And then down here, we're going to do the exact opposite. So this one's the number 24. So you're going to have 24 here and here, and number 5 here and here. So what I like to do is just make sure the edges are all even here, and the edges are even here. And then I like to put a few pins in it. This is, of course, optional, but trust me, you're going to want to do this. So I like to put 2 pins in each of the triangles, just like that. So you get the picture. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. And then stitch a 1/4 inch from this little crack right here. So a 1/4 inch on each side. And then we're going to cut them apart. And your pattern has a good illustration of that. But just make sure that you have your fabric colors in the right orientation, just the way it says on the pattern. And I will be back and we'll show you what comes next. Okay, now we're back from the ironing board, and you can see we have 2 like look like little fox faces with little ears, and they're exactly the same. So this is what we're going to do here. We're going to take our remaining triangles that we had cut, and this time we're going to place them so that on the side with the number 5, we're going to put a number 24 triangle, just like this. Going to match that right along the edge, and then a number 5 triangle we're going to put right along this edge. Again, just line up the edges down here on both of these spots and make sure these are right up to each other. And I'm going to put 2 pins here and 2 pins there, stitch a 1/4 inch on each side, and I'll be back. We've done the stitching, cut in half. Now I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm going to press both of these toward the small triangles again, and you can see we'll have 2 flying geese with the exact same colors on each side for the wings. So let me go do that, and I'll come back and we'll show you how to trim it up using the wing clipper. Okay, we're going to take a look at the wing clipper tool, and we're going to find the 3.5 by 6.5 markings, and find where the common diagonal line and the cross line or the other diagonal line by the 6.5 come right down to a point, and that's where we're going to line it up right on the nose of our goose. So let's get that lined up, and it's the 3.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to line that up right there. And both of the diagonal lines, let me get straight here, both of the diagonal lines will match up right on your seam. So just do whatever a little adjusting you have to do. There we go, just right on the seams and right at the tip. And then I'm going to hold that down, and I'm just going to cut up the side and across the top. Oh, I felt that not cut. Oh, it did cut. Okay, so we're going to lift this up. Don't move the tool, or I'll just lift it up, and rotate the unit. And now we're going to line the 3.5 by 6.5 markings right here and here, right along the edges we just trimmed, and you'll see the little X lines right up there on the tip of the nose, and then we're able to trim up the side and across the top. Oh, did that cut? Oh, there we go. There we go. Just beautiful. And you'll end up making 4 of these all at the same time. Trim them all the same way, and that will be for 2A. Now we'll be back a little bit later for the 2C strip of flying geese. They have the wings the same color. So basically it's just a little tiny bit different. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, when you assemble block 2A, you're going to make your geese, and then you're going to sew the little rectangles onto the goose toward the nose on each goose. So there, and there. Once you get those sections put together, you're going to sew these 2 sections together like this, and these 2 sections here. And the pattern will tell you, press this seam this direction, and press this seam this direction. And that's so that when you go to sew this cross seam, they'll nest together and you'll be able to spin them. So I'm just going to show you the back side of my block. Okay, here's the back side of the block. You can see the seams all spin in a clockwise direction. And here's the front side of the block with all the seams nested. Everything comes together nice and neat in the center.
All right, well, block 2B is pretty straightforward. Just follow the instructions on the pattern and you shouldn't have any issues there. But let's move on to block 2C. This is a lot of little tiny flying geese. So that's 16 little flying geese. So the first thing you're going to do is take the number 27 squares and the number 32 squares and place them diagonally from each other, just like it shows in the pattern. Draw a line down the center, stitch along both sides, cut them apart, and then you're going to press them toward the small triangles. Just like we did before, only not, this time both of the little squares are the same color. Then when you go to put the second square on, just make sure you align the edges, just like it shows here in red. And these units are so tiny, I think one small pin is going to do it for you. So let's just move along. You stitch on both sides of the line, and you're going to cut them apart, and then you're going to press them again toward the small triangles, and there they are. They're ready to trim to 2.5 by 1.5. You're going to look for the diagonal markings for the 2.5 by 1.5 inch size. And notice where the lines cross, and that's right where you're going to put the nose of the goose. So let's just take a little look at that. There you go, right along those lines. You'll mark it up, and then you just trim up the side and across the top. And then you're going to lift your tool, rotate the unit, and go up the side and across the top again.
Okay, just a quick little note about pressing. You can certainly sew all of your flying geese together in one long strip and then come back and press each little seam. But after I've done this numerous times, this is the first time I'm going to be just sewing 2 at a time, 2 at once, and then pressing all these little seams. I think it's going to make it a little bit easier. But the reason we want to press them in the direction that I'm showing you here is so that when you go to sew this into the quilt later, that you have your little seam intersections exposed here, so you'll be able to see right where you need to stitch. So that is just a little tip about that. Now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to stitch these all together, and we're going to come back and look at the strip all done. One more little pressing tip I wanted to give you. In this pen, this is just like for watercolor, and I put Best Press in here. But they actually make a beautiful tool, and I'm going to show you that on the split screen here. But this makes it a lot easier to press these little seams here, and I just want to give you a quick little peek at that. Now here, I want to press with this on the top so that the seam goes toward the point. And I'm going to fold that back. I'm just going to hold it. Now these are so tiny, but I'm just going to paint a little bit of this right across the seam. And what that does, and it's just best press in there, and I'm going to give it a little press. And boy, it makes that just cooperate so nicely. There, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm going to continue pressing the rest of these, put them together in a strip, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have one last little tip about pressing. So I've got everything all stitched together here. And sometimes this might want to get a little wavy or bowed out. So there are two things I like to do. One is I like to just put a ruler down, and I actually have a line drawn right on my ironing board so that I can put a strip set, or in a situation like this, a sashing strip, and put it right up against the edge. So then I get it to lay nice and straight like this, and then give it a nice little press just to make sure it is going to stay in a straight line. Not a big deal. One more little pressing trick that helps the top of your block lay nice and smooth. And that's when I'm all done with any block. I take a couple of layers of batting and put it on my right on my ironing board, and I put my block face up, and sometimes I give it a little squirt of best press or starch or whatever you'd like. And what I do is just press it again, right, and give it some steam, and I do it right from the top. And what that does is it makes all the seams like bury down um, into the batting, and it makes your block lay nice and smooth, so you don't get, well, it eliminates a lot of the little puckering and everything that you might see when your block is just on a nice hard ironing board surface. So there you go. That is it for month 2. Please keep posting your pictures, and happy stitching, everybody. Bye bye.